Greetings YouTube, this is BJ Black and we're back with part 5 of Monmouth's Quest Paradox RPG Catalyst Chapter Let's Play. We're going to start with grabbing this small medal here. We can talk to this guy, but we're going to grab something down here and bring it back to him. As you recall, we went down here to... After finishing Pornoff and talking with the bunny there, our white rabbit jumped into the Tartarus here, so we could chase her down. Sonia observes this place isn't made of iron and it kind of creeps her out. Ilias just wants to beat up the rabbit and get her information. Puppy's scared, but she's not gonna lose. This place has been explored by the research team, and the research team got about this far. Judging by the open chests, anyway. Let's follow her. Yeah, whatever. And here is the thing we're going to show to that other guy. It's called a machina. A bowgun, to be specific. We can also open this for a bit of dialogue. It's a musket. Luca doesn't know what it is, but Ilias can immediately identify it and tell you what it does. Anyway, with the bowgun, we can head up here. And talk to this guy. We can show it to him or not show it to him. But if you don't show it to him, you get but thou musted. So eventually you show it to him. He gives you a slip of paper. It's a permission to become a machina-shi. A machina warrior, let's call it. You use machina in battle. I find it kind of funny that Minnie has to fly down this rope backwards. So let's chase down the white rabbit. The researchers at the top are able to tell you about a door that cannot be opened here in the bottom. We think the rabbit went through here. Well, we know the rabbit went through here. Sonia tries to move it. Gobo tries to move it. Puppy tries to move it. These are the heavy lifters we have right now. But it's no good. No keyhole or anything. Ilias can inform us that we can't open it. It is something that absolutely will not open. It's not simply heavy, nor is it sealed or kekkai. Well, nor is it sealed or focused. No. Nor is it sealed or separated, I think. Rather, space-time itself is rejected by the door. She doesn't know how such a thing can exist. Luca decides to try and open it. Maybe if we push hard, he says. Ilias says it's completely impossible again, but Luca just touches it and it opens. He didn't even push. Ilias is surprised. Well, everybody is surprised. Luca doesn't even know why it opened. Inside should be something interesting. Ilias has an inkling of what's going on here. She tells us that space-time is being eroded, or receiving erosion. This creeps out Sonia and she wants to leave. Foreshadowing. Puppy's scared too. Before we talk to anybody. Oh, there are still encounters here if you don't have your encounters turned off like I do. Small medal in this chest. Welcome to the town of Remina. Ilias figured this out. But 30 years ago, in the Great Cataclysm, Remina was swallowed up by a Tartarus. I wonder why everyone would be here. Let's talk to this guy again. Oh look, he's just an irregular RPG guy who repeats the same phrase over and over again. Maybe we broke him. Maybe we broke him. Are you freaking out? You should be freaking out. Ilias identifies this as the reveal of apoptosis, meaning that this guy has become one. Apoptosis is the Japanese transliteration of apoptosis. I'll see if I can get a link to Wikipedia on that one. It's one of those things that should really freak you out. And speaking of freakouts, we don't even have to talk to her twice. She's completely falling apart. On this screen you can see several times chaos coming in. And now she speaks normal like. Type 1 severed world contact. Proceeding to eliminate. And she transforms and attacks. The artist of that monster and several other apoptosis monsters is the same artist that draws another character. That's also a spoiler. Ilias informs us that the apoptosis ka, that is, that village girl just turned into an apoptosis. That's a type of monster. Because of this corrupted space-time. The purpose of these apoptosis is to keep out foreign invaders, foreign intrusions. That is us. We don't really know why they're forming here. Well, we don't really know why it's this distorted world anyway. And there's someone in here. She's just eating some apples and notices us. And naturally noticing means the same as attacking. Ah, nuts. I wanted to show you the loot I got off of her, because there's one item we're going to need later. Although it's not like we're going to use it for anything else. Oh, I should have read Sonia's words there. She assesses that this girl attacked us more out of being surprised than actually hating us. It's probably a scary place for her too. If you walk to about here, she'll start following. Ilias is against letting her come. Thinks she's up to no good. But Sonia's alright with it. We name her Nuriko. Specifically, Sonia names her Nuriko. Let's replace Lime. And now Sonia decides to ask what exactly it is. Well, you should have thought of that before we invited her into our party. I feel like I'm forgetting something. This is just everybody becomes apoptosis. I recall saying earlier in my videos that you could get items out of pots, dressers, and drawers, as well as treasure chests, but there are also barrels. I forgot to say that, but there are items in barrels as well. Now coming through that town area, we come to this. Some kind of floating space-time place. Even Ilias doesn't know how it can possibly exist. Yeah, what the hell am I forgetting? It's driving me crazy. A dead end in a magic circle. This is just a warp circle. If you step in it, you go to some other place. And we're back where we started. Although it is kind of odd that the researchers are gone, their tents are gone. Ilias observes it's much more of a wasteland than before. Ta-da! This is the white rabbit. This is, I believe, whoops. Oh, didn't know that would happen. This is, I believe, the only time you actually get to walk around while she's just standing there. Any other time you interact with her, she's gone before the end of the scene. Or gone before you get control of your characters again. You could even leave this scene without talking to her. There's a one line she gives from that, and you get an achievement. What we need to do, listen to her. Yes, we followed you this far. Ilias accuses her of intentionally leading us this far. 50-50, she says. Aye. Now Ilias accuses the White Rabbit of knowing that Luca could open that door, even though human could not do that. White Rabbit, what the hell are you talking about, Ilias? Don't you know, you already know what kind of lineage Luca has. Well, she sort of does. It gets there are still mysteries unsolved. Yeah, Ilias says even Lucifina could not open that door. Yeah, even a god couldn't open that. Even Ilias at full power, it would be useless. And now she's demanding why Luca could do it. Oh, Luca's just the type of guy who can open that thing. Totally useless answer. She does admit it's unprecedented, which is good. And, well, unsatisfied with answers, White Rabbit says, I'm a guide, not an explainer. If you don't understand, go research it yourself. That's it, I'm gone. But she is our only lead, so we gotta track her down again, or something. But perhaps this place is different than the place we know. Isn't she nice? Okay, she has this warning. The enemies around here are really tough, so be aware. They're very stuck up, however, so they hate dirt. So if you walk in the blasted lands or on the roads, you should be fine. Sounds like angels. Furthermore, Ilias, as you are now, what would you do if the Tenjis, if the angels saw you? What would the angels do if they saw you? Well, Ilias is of course confident that they would obey her. But she is just a tiny little angel herself. She has no proof that she was actually Ilias. A fake who names the claim of God. The angels hate that sort of a guy, don't they? What she's getting at is that the angels might not take her seriously and further consider the assertion that she is a goddess to be kind of blasphemous. Puppy's so scared that her scales are rattling. Kinda creepy. Vanilla's got shivers. Ilias has never felt this kind of... No. Well, I suppose she may have felt it before. But it's got a very high level holy energy in it. So listen to the White Rabbit and stay on the roads or the blasted lands. If you don't, you could run into enemies. Unless you do what I do. But in any case, there's nowhere to go off the roads. All the bridges are broken. And there's this mountain range here that wasn't there before. So all you can do is run into enemies, and even if you had beaten this first chapter, you still wouldn't be able to take them on. I'd beaten this first chapter and then did some more of the post-game, and then I was finally able to beat them with some strategy. Okay, so here we are back at Iliasville. It's been pretty messed up. But it couldn't have been messed up this badly in the short time we were in that hole. This could be a different Iliasville, whatever that means. Well, let's research. This we can identify as Hans, the woodcutter. This we can identify as Razaro. And so on and so forth. We of course identified this as Luca's house. And we can identify the various skeletons as this and that. As other people in the town. Too many dead people. We can't even bury them. It's the end of the village. And here's a giant pile of skeletons. You can see 9 in that pile there, but if you examine it, it says they're numberless. And then there's this crazy number of graves. This one says Sonia on it. Who could this be? Yeah, you guessed it. This one says Luca. At the foot of the grave is a journal. Luca recognizes it, of course. It's the same journal we wrote in at the beginning of the game. These first 3 entries are entries we could have read at the beginning of the game. Well, we can go back to that Iliasville and read them if we felt like it. There may be differences. I'm not going to read every line of them because there are a lot of lines. But what's really important is his last journal entry was the journal entry before he left town with Ilias in order to go on his journey. part of the rules he set out for himself was that he wasn't going to write another journal entry until his journey was completed. So this third one covers up to that journal entry, and then there's more. So in the journal he claims that in Iliasburg he met Gramberia, got beat down, and his journey ended there. Gramberia, if you may recall, was briefly shown to us in a vision when we saw the white rabbit in Iliasburg. And Lucas surprised by this. Of course, I'd be more surprised by the fact that I was standing in front of my own grave. He skips to the end. About a year later. The Angel army has burned down the village. In the first attack, many people died. In the next attack, I will fight too. I'm taking up my sword and protecting the villagers. The next 3 lines are written in a different hand. It's very good handwriting, the type of an older person. Luca fought to the end with courage. When the instant that his life closed, the fact that he was a hero was realized. A true hero rests here. And the journal ends. So, Angel attacks. Ilias speculated this would happen. This was the case. This is not our Iliasville. She says it's different. Yes, it's different. For one thing, there's the journal entry 1 year later, and Ilias speculates it's been about 10 years since that. In other words, this is another world. The Tartarus was a tunnel into this separate space-time. The possibility of it existing is not zero. If space-time were warped in a certain way, a parallel universe could be created. Well, that's a theoretical conversation. To think such a cruel resemblance would be formed is outside of forecast. Sonia can't really handle this. Ilias calls it a paradox and doesn't know the cause. So the problem is what we do from here. We decide on leaving pretty quick. And Ilias says it's pretty bad for our mental health to be hanging around here. But she can't use a harpy feather to teleport away. That's the useful item I use from time to time. No good. No. Luca, why don't you try using it? So bam, it works. Yet another thing Ilias speculated. Luca can come and go between these different worlds. Well, it's unprecedented that he could open that door into the parallel universe in the first place, so hell, why not just throw anything at him, see if he can do it. Alright, let's head back to the Pocket Mao Castle and talk about things. I hope you like talking. I like talking. Because there is going to be a lot of talking. There are words coming out of mouths like you wouldn't believe. Nudrico, our new companion, is sitting here like it's perfectly normal for her to be there. Well, whatever. And the words, and the mouth that is putting out most of the words will be this one, Ilias. Talking about why she was on this journey to find whoever the hell sealed her. They're all getting wrapped up in something. So now we get to talk about all these things. This last one would end it, but you have to look at all 6 of the others first. So about the White Rabbit. She's leading us around someplace. Claims to be someone guiding Alice. Oh, she is also the one who turned Alice into the weakened version of herself she is. She is also intentionally leading us around to places. Part of her plan that we learn about the other world. Sonia speculates that if she can mess with the Mao like that, she might be an existence higher than the Mao. Yeah. Elias quotes Lewis Carroll a bit here, but still can't remember it. She blames it on these holes in her memory. In any case, the White Rabbit certainly knows what's going on here. The Tartarus. Like I said, there were 7 of them. And they are very mysterious. They formed 30 years ago. Yeah, I did say all of this. Oh, Elias says that her memory cuts out 30 years ago. She doesn't say whether she remembers the cataclysm itself or not. But she definitely doesn't know about the Tartarus. Well, the Tartarus are filled with monsters. And they're monsters different than anything you see around in the regular world. We also saw a human transform into one of them. Ilias again says this is a reveal of Apotolsis. That is what happens to living beings that stay in that chaotic world, or worlds eroded by chaos. And their purpose is to purge the world of outside influences, such as us while we were there. Their bodies and minds are overridden by the need to erase people in this fashion. Erase the outsiders in this fashion, rather. Nudrico is also one of those. But Elias thinks she is also a little different. And then there's the Remina. At the top of the Tartarus there were a bunch of researchers, and one of them could tell you about the 7 Tartarus spread around the land. The last one he can tell you about is the one at the former site of Remina. Of course, the Tartarus swallowed it up, so the town is gone. But it still kind of exists down in the bottom of the Tartarus. The remaining people were dissolved and turned into apoptosis. Ilias doesn't know why, however. We don't even have enough information to speculate with, and we need to gather more. We should investigate more of the Tartarus. Now, about the other world. It resembled ours, but it was different. The village was destroyed. Everybody was dead. It really creeped Sonia out. Furthermore, time had advanced by about 10 years. Sonia is worried that this was actually the future of our world, but Ilias points out that's not the case. There were a lot of differences that we've already seen. For instance, Luca's diary said that in Iliasburg he was defeated by Granbergia and retired back to his hometown. End of journey. But that hasn't happened here. The journeys continued pretty well beyond Iliasburg, and we never met Granbergia. It did strangely resemble our world, but after all, it was a different one. So there are 7 Tartarus. Do they all connect to that world? Possibly. But they could also connect to other worlds. So there could be another 6 worlds. It's possible, theoretically, definitely, she says. Yet again, we reiterate that we should go investigate. Next. The reason why that other world was destroyed. It was destroyed by an army of angels. So Sonia asks if it wasn't Ilias's idea. And here we have another character moment with Ilias. Masaka, a parallel universe where the recreation plan was affected. But even in that case, to go so far as to kill Luca. Now the fact that there is a recreation plan in which she would lead the angels in destroying everybody but leave Luca alive says something about the eventualities she's willing to consider. No, it's nothing. Pretend I didn't say anything. Forget. As if anybody could forget our saying that. But in any case, it wasn't her doing. It was caused by some other problem. And this time it actually seems like she's sincere in saying that. Now we're talking about the connection of the other world with ours. People from our world aren't going to remember any events from the other world unless they actually shared it in this world. They're kind of the same but kind of different, and they won't be connected. Although it would seem that the White Rabbit could do that based on the ability she's shown. They can't get to our world. And she says, no, if they could come here, perhaps that would be the cause of the paradox. But she can't really say. Next, Luca's ability. Luca was able to open that door in the bottom of Tartarus. Even a god could not do that. The White Rabbit said that a god couldn't do it, but then the White Rabbit could just pop through as well. So the rabbit can move in space-time. Perhaps the rabbit is not in existence, but a phenomenon or a law of nature. Something that appeared when the parallel universe was created. But this is just speculation. Luca says he doesn't understand, but Ilias says, what's not understood here is you. Why could you, as a human, open that door? Even if you ask Luca, he doesn't know. Sonia asks if it's in his lineage. His dad's a hero and his mother is beautiful. Yeah, that makes sense. It's true that Luca's lineage is extremely exceptional. But even so, to travel to an alternate universe, it's impossible. Even if his mother's lineage was fully realized... Well, no. If his mother's lineage was fully realized, he could transport within a single space-time. But you can't even perceive But you cannot perceive an alternate space-time. And since you can't perceive it, you can't go to it. Even a god can't. No matter whose blood you happen to have in you, what you can't perceive, you can't get to. Luca wonders if his dad knows something. Ilias can confirm, however, that Markers, Luca's dad, was a normal human. He was an exceptional human, an exceptional hero as a human, but then he was not someone who exceeded the boundaries of humanity. But we still don't know why, the reason for his leaving on a second journey. So there may be some value. There may be some value to be gained in talking to him. Finally, Ilias's subordinates. Ilias is really concerned about her angels who have not found her or contacted her. Sonia asks if they haven't abandoned her. Ilias has probably not thought of this. Angels, all of them, obey her questions, obey her orders absolutely. If they knew her condition, they would immediately come to her aid. It's only because her presence has shrunken so much that they can't tell where she is. What we need to do is get to a place where her voice can reach the heavens, someplace closer to the heavenly world. That was the original point of her journey. If it was no good in Iliasville, then we would need to go to the next continent. On the continent of Centra, in the area of San Ilia Amos, Holy Mountain, or in the center of Centra, the world's navel. Sonia mentions that the world's navel is gone. News to somebody. In the cataclysm 30 years ago, the world's navel was destroyed, and now it is the central black hole in the middle of that continent. Split the continent into 3 even. The giant Tartarus in the middle of it just swallowed up the world's navel whole. Now Ilias is saying that's not a problem. The heavens are holy. The heavens were created with holy material. A physical destruction, they are not susceptible to physical destruction. Tartarus are holes punching through reality into alternate universes. In that case, the heavenly world might also. No, it is certainly not a possibility. The heavenly world cannot be destroyed. She's worried. She really is. She tries to be strong, but there are actually people she cares about. Or at least ideas she cares about. Well, first and foremost being herself, but in any case, Nuruko tries to reassure Ilias. And now that we've talked about these 6 things, what do we do next? First, we try and track down the rabbit. We've got to try and get her to cough up more info for us. Second, there is Luca's father. It would be valuable to try and hear his story. However, we don't know where either of them got off to. So we're back to our original plans. Ilias does mention that we have one more lead. In the various areas of the world there are the Tartarus, and we can investigate those. First, there would be one in the east of the Ilias Continent. It's in the vicinity of Lostrom. There's a mountain range in the way. We gotta go through a cave. At our battle power, however, it would be a pretty tough journey. So, Ilias thinks we should get some gold equipment. With that, they could probably get through the mountain range alright. In the north end of the continent is the town of Midas, where they make gold weapons and armor. In order to get there, we could head east from Iliasberg to get to the Harpy Nest. From there we can go north to Midas village. The Harpy Nest has got an incident going on right now where all of the harpies have disappeared. There should be nobody at the nest. Ilias would normally be pleased by a bunch of monsters going missing, but since this may be connected to all of these events, we should probably investigate that as well. So, from Iliasberg we head west to the Harpy Nest. The Happiness village next to the Harpy Nest is someplace where we can get information. That's a bunch of humans, so they haven't disappeared. After that, north to Midas. Get some gold equips. And by that point our level and equip should be good, so we go through the mountain range into the Tartarus. However, we could possibly make it through the mountain range at this point, more or less. So she's going to leave it to Luca to decide when we're ready. We could do it right away, but we don't want to be beat back. Oh, Ilias says that we could use a good informant among our allies. And informant means that damn abomination in Iliasberg. No, we are not speaking to it. No, never again. No. Q. So that is that. I do want to tell you about a couple things. I realized while I was trying to pop up a map on the world map that if you press, at least on the Xbox controller, the right bumper, it'll take you straight to your Pocket Mao castle, rather than having to go through a menu. But what I was looking for when I pressed that was the select button, which will pop up a world map. The lower right hand continent there is the one we are on right now. You can see a little orange dot where we are. And the large black circles, well, some of them are smaller. The large black circle is the one that swallowed up the world's navel and maybe destroyed the heavenly world. There are a total of 7 of those black dots. The big one in the center. 2 smaller ones east and north of that, you can see fairly easily. A little bit southwest of the big one is a even smaller one. Now north and west in a desert is a small one, and then there are 2 on the southeast continent, the one south of us, and in a blasted range, in a blasted area behind a mountain range is the last one. So that's that for the map. Now, yes. No, I did talk to this guy already. Well, that covers the events of the South Tartarus. Next time, we're going to head east towards Harpy Nest and the Harpy Nest. And I will see you then. Catch you later, YouTube.